Welcome back to Singapore Property Talk Love. I'm Damien, and I'm really excited you're joining us for another deep dive into the world of Singapore property.
Hi everyone, I'm Serene.
Today we're talking about common mistakes people make when buying a home,
I think it's so important to learn from other people's experiences.
especially when it comes to something as big as buying property.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so much can go wrong.
There are just so many details that are easy to overlook.
And these mistakes, they can really cost you.
Yeah, you really don't want to end up in a financial nightmare.
Not a good look.
No, not at all.
So to kick things off, one mistake that often catches first-time buyers off guard.
Budgeting.
Ah, yes, budgeting.
You'd think it's pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
It's more than just the down payment, though.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how many hidden costs there are,
Right, and they can really add up quickly.
especially here in Singapore.
Yes, definitely. Things like additional buyer's stamp duty.
ABSD for foreigners.
Yeah, exactly. That can be a huge chunk of money.
And loan-to-value limits, too.
LTV, yeah, that can also affect how much you can borrow.
So, for example, if you're a foreigner buying a condo here, you might have to pay 30% ABSD.
On top of the regular stamp duty.
Ouch. Yeah, that's a lot.
It's like another down payment, basically. It really is.
And with the LTV limits, let's say you find your dream home,
Right.
but the LTV limit is 75%.
Meaning you need a bigger down payment than you thought.
Exactly. So many things to consider.
Before you even start looking at properties.
It's crucial to get all of this sorted out first.
Definitely. And that brings us to another common mistake people make.
Not getting a loan approval in principle,
Or AIP.
AIP, before you even start house hunting.
Yes, this is so important.
Like getting pre-approved for a credit card, right?
Shows that you're serious and ready to buy.
It could even give you an advantage when you're negotiating with sellers.
Oh, absolutely. Sellers are more likely to accept your offer if they know you have the finances in place.
So it's really worth getting an AIP before you start looking at properties.
Definitely. It gives you a clear idea what you can afford, and it makes you a more attractive buyer.
It's a win-win.
It is. And here's a pro tip.
Okay.
There are actually different types of AIPs.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Some are more detailed than others, and you might need to provide more documents.
I see.
Choosing the right one for your situation can make the process much smoother.
So do your research on AIPs?
Definitely.
Okay, so we got our budget sorted and our AIP in hand.
What's next?
Well, this is where things can get a little bit tricky.
Because emotions come into play.
Yes, it's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of finding a place you love.
Yeah, you fall in love with a property and make a hasty decision.
That love at first sight syndrome.
Right. It happens to the best of us.
You see that stunning view,
The beautiful kitchen.
the spacious balcony.
And you get swept away.
It's easy to forget that buying a home is a huge long-term commitment.
It's not just about how it looks today.
Right. You need to think about how it will fit into your life years down the road. Will it still suit your needs in 5, 10, even 20 years?
This is where a lot of buyers make mistakes.
Yeah, they focus too much on their current needs.
And they forget about their future aspirations.
Exactly. What if you have a growing family?
What if your job situation changes?
What about the resale or rental potential?
I had a friend who bought this beautiful condo near their office.
Okay,
Perfect for their lifestyle at the time.
right.
But then they changed jobs, had kids, and suddenly that location didn't work for them anymore.
Yeah, it's a classic example of not thinking about your future needs.
And it can backfire.
Definitely.
See, if you're thinking about starting a family,
Being close to good schools and parks becomes essential.
and if you might need to rent out the property in the future,
Proximity to transport and amenities is key.
it's like you need a crystal ball to predict the future.
Right, but really it's about asking yourself the right questions.
And being honest about your long-term goals.
Absolutely.
The property market is always changing.
Trends come and go, neighborhoods evolve. And your needs change too.
You want a home that can adapt to those changes.
That's a good point.
It's about making a smart investment.
What will save you well for years to come.
Exactly. So we were just talking about the future, and that brings me to something a lot of people don't think about.
Especially those using their CPF to buy a home.
Retirement.
Oh yeah, retirement. That's a big one.
It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of buying a home.
And forget about the long-term financial implications.
Exactly. You know, many first-time buyers here use their CPF to pay for their mortgage.
Right.
It seems like a great way to manage those monthly repayments.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But there's a catch.
Oh yeah, what's the
CPF rules change after you turn 55.
Oh, right.
You need to have a minimum amount in your CPF account.
It's called the basic retirement sum.
The BRS? Yes.
So how does that work exactly?
Well, if you've been using your CPF to pay down your mortgage,
Yeah.
you might need to top up your CPF account to meet that BRS requirement.
So you could end up with a great home,
Right.
but not enough saved for retirement.
That's the risk you're taking.
It's a tough trade-off.
It can be, and that's why planning ahead is so crucial.
Definitely, you need to consider the impact of using CPF on your retirement.
Talk to a financial advisor.
They can help you figure out the numbers.
Absolutely.
Make sure you're not putting your retirement at risk.
Right. It's all about finding that balance.
Between owning a home and having a comfortable retirement.
Exactly. It's a bit of a juggling act.
But with the right information and guidance,
You can make smart decisions.
that will benefit you in the long run.
Definitely. Okay, let's move on to another common mistake,
Hmm.
especially when buying resale properties.
Okay, what is it?
Skipping the home inspection.
Ah, yes, people often try to save money there.
But is it really a smart move?
Probably not.
It's like buying a used car without checking under the hood.
You're taking a big gamble on the condition of the property,
And that can lead to expensive repairs later on.
so it's more of an investment than a cost.
Exactly. Think of it as insurance against unforeseen problems.
What kind of problems?
Well, a professional inspector can find things you might miss.
Like what?
Leaky pipes, faulty wiring,
Oh yeah, that's bad.
even structural damage.
That's scary.
Right, and they'll give you a detailed report with their findings.
So you know exactly what you're getting into.
Exactly, gives you peace of mind.
But what about the seller?
What do you mean?
Won't they be offended if I ask for an inspection?
Not at all.
Really?
It can actually benefit both of you.
How so?
It creates transparency.
I see.
Everyone knows the true condition of the property.
No surprises.
Right. Wouldn't you rather find out about a problem before you buy?
Then after you moved in.
Of course, dealing with repairs after you've bought the place.
That's a nightmare.
It can be stressful and expensive.
So a home inspection is a worthwhile investment.
Whether you're buying a new Hondo or a resale flat.
Always get an inspection.
Now let's talk about the emotional side of buying a home. Especially in a competitive market like Singapore,
It can be tough.
people often feel pressured to make quick decisions.
Yeah, you see prices going up.
Properties selling fast.
You don't want to miss out.
That's when mistakes happen.
You might overbid
Waive important contingency.
or even settle for a place you don't really love.
Just because you're afraid of missing out.
So how do you avoid making those impulsive decisions?
Have a clear strategy.
And stick to it.
Yes, know what you want.
Set a realistic budget.
And don't be afraid to walk away if a deal doesn't feel right.
There will always be other properties.
Exactly. Remember why you're buying a home.
What are your goals?
Keep those in mind.
Don't let the market control you.
It's your decision.
Your investment.
Your future.
And speaking of making smart decisions,
Let's talk about getting the right guidance.
because buying a home in Singapore can be complex,
Having a team of experts can make a world of difference.
but a lot of buyers rely solely on the seller's agent,
For information and advice.
which isn't always the best idea.
Remember, the seller's agent is there to close the deal.
Not necessarily to get you the best outcome,
It's like relying on the salesperson at a car dealership.
to tell you if you're getting a good deal,
They might be helpful.
but their loyalty is to the seller,
Right, so you need your own team of experts.
starting with an independent mortgage broker.
Absolutely. They're your advocate in the world of home loans.
What do they do exactly?
They compare loan packages from different banks,
Okay,
negotiate the best interest rates and terms for you.
so they shop around for you,
Exactly, and they guide you through the whole mortgage application process.
which can be pretty complicated.
It can be. They're like your personal loan concierge.
That sounds great.
And because they're independent?
They're not tied to any specific bank,
Right, their goal is to find the best loan for you.
based on your individual needs and goals,
Exactly, it takes the pressure off you.
knowing that you have an expert handling your mortgage.
Right, and don't forget about legal representation.
Ah, yes, a lawyer.
A real estate lawyer can review the sale and purchase agreement.
Make sure everything is in order,
Protect your interests throughout the whole transaction.
like a legal guardian angel.
Exactly. They can spot any problems in the contract.
Make sure you understand everything.
Ensure the transaction goes smoothly.
So we've got our mortgage broker, our lawyer.
And of course, our home inspector.
It sounds like a dream team for any home buyer.
Definitely, having those experts on your side can save you a lot of trouble.
But even with a great team, you still need to do your own homework.
Right, due diligence is so important.
What does that mean exactly for someone buying a home?
Being an informed buyer.
Don't just take people's word for it.
Exactly. Do your own research, verify information.
Understand the details.
It's about taking charge of the process.
Not just going along with whatever anyone tells you.
Right. Ask questions. Read the documents carefully.
Make sure you feel confident about everything.
That's the key.
So where should buyers focus their due diligence?
Well, the property itself is a good place to start.
Yeah, don't just rely on the marketing materials.
Right. Dig deeper. Look into the property's history.
Check for any past issues or disputes.
If it's a condo, research the management company.
Makes sense. You don't want any surprises after you move in.
Exactly. And then there's the neighborhood.
Ah, yes. Location, location, location.
Research the amenities, the transportation options.
The schools, even the demographics.
Think about your lifestyle and if the neighborhood fits.
One thing I always recommend is checking the URA master plan.
Oh, that's a great tip. It tells you about future development plans.
For different areas in Singapore,
You don't want to buy a home in a quiet area.
only to find out there's a huge construction project planned next door.
That would be a nightmare.
The master plan can give you a lot of insights.
About potential changes in the neighborhood.
Traffic patterns, property values.
That helps you anticipate those future trends.
Make a more informed decision.
So we've covered the property and the neighborhood.
What about the legal side of things?
That's where your lawyer comes in?
They'll review the sale and purchase agreement.
Make sure your interests are protected.
They're like your legal bodyguard.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask them questions.
Clarify any doubts you have.
Understand all the legal terms.
So due diligence is all about being proactive and informed,
Empowering yourself as a buyer.
minimizing the risks,
Increasing your chances of a smooth transaction.
and getting that peace of mind.
Which is priceless when you're making such a big investment.
One last thought before we wrap up.
Okay, good.
You mentioned managing expectations earlier.
Yeah, that's important too.
What do you mean by that?
Buying a home in Singapore can be competitive.
It can get emotional.
People compare themselves to others.
Feel pressured to find the perfect home right away.
That's when you need to manage your expectations.
Remember that finding the right home takes time.
There will be compromises.
Your journey might not look like everyone else's.
It's about staying true to your own needs.
Your budget, your timeline.
Don't let anyone else dictate your decisions.
Buying a home is a personal journey.
Not a race.
Find a place that you love.
That fits your lifestyle.
That's what matters most.
Absolutely.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dives.
On the common mistakes of home buying in Singapore.
I hope you found it helpful.
I think we covered a lot of important points.
Remember, knowledge is power.
By understanding the pitfalls,
Thinking expert advice,
staying focused on your goals,
you can achieve your dream of owning a home in Singapore.
and don't forget to enjoy the process.
It's an exciting time.
It should be a happy experience.
So celebrate those milestones.
Learn from any setbacks.
And enjoy the ride.
If you need more guidance,
You know where to find us.
tune in to Singapore Property Talk Law.
For more insights and advice on the Singapore property market.
Thanks for joining us today.
We'll see you next time.